fourth grade. Today you're doing some work about the different branches of government. So I just quickly wanted to make a little video and go over those branches of government with you to make sure that you remember what they are. We have three branches of our government. So the first one we're going to start with is the executive branch. The executive branch is headed by the president. It's the president and the vice president. And the job of the executive branch is to enforce the law of our land. President and the vice president are not the only people in the executive branch. If you think about all of the folks who work underneath them and the presidential cabinet, that's all kind of included in part of that. But mostly when we think of executive branch, you're going to think about the president and the vice president. But their job is to enforce the law of the land. Okay, now over here in green, we have the legislative branch. The legislative branch of government is Congress. It's the House of Representatives and the Senate. The Senate is the higher of those branches, and in our United States Senate, there's 2 senators from every state. So no matter how big the state is, they get 2 seats in the Senate. But then it's also the House of Representatives, which is kind of the lower branch. And the number of representatives is based on the population of the state. So smaller states like West Virginia have fewer delegates. Right now, I think we have 3. When I was growing up, we had 4. But the number of seats we have in the House of Representatives is determined by the United States Census, which is why it's really, really important that everybody over the age of 18 returns their census form or goes online and fills that out. So remind your parents, if they haven't done it, that's really important because the census affects how many seats our state has in the House of Representatives, which, you know, the more seats you have, really, the more decisions are being made in favor of your state, or the more people from your, well, I shouldn't say it that way, the more people from your state are making those decisions. You have higher representation. So, but the bigger states have more representatives than smaller states like us. But anyway, the legislative branch makes the law. That's their job. So they create laws, and then the executive branch has to enforce those laws. The other thing I didn't mention with executive branch that I need to, that affects both executive and legislative branch, people have to be elected to be part of that branch of government. So the president and the vice president are elected. The legislators, if you're in the House or if you're in the Senate, you're elected. But then there's the judicial branch. The judicial branch is our court system. So it's the job of the judicial branch is to interpret the law, and it is headed by our Supreme Court of the United States. And those judges, or we call them justices of the Supreme Court, they are appointed. They are appointed by the president. They're not elected, but they are appointed representatives. Now, local judges, like on a local level, like our judge of Marion County, those are elected individuals. But for the Supreme Court, they are appointed, and they're appointed for life or as long as they decide they want to serve. So their job is to interpret the law. So executive enforces the law, legislative makes the law, and judicial branch interprets the law. I hope that helps you a little bit as you're reading and doing your 3 pages today about the 3 branches of government.